We have a dinner this evening, which is going to raise some funds for us. There's a few places free, so if anybody would like to come along, it's £30. It's all going towards the FHU.
Good Lord, what a rip-off.
Salmon and all nice things like that. So
30 quid?
You haven't paid actually, Roy. It's at 7 o'clock, but I need to know now, unfortunately.
How many?
Two more? What, two there? Oh, right.
2 and 2 are 4.
Two for Steve. Sorry, it's a bit confusing this. Who wants to go? Put your hands up, please. Right, so that's 4. Any more for any more? 5. My last bid, 5. Any more for 5?
Thank you very much. Seems to me there were more people here this morning. I think they chickened out or something. They're all sitting on the first row, are we? All right. Now, how are you doing, young lady? You seem to be a lot brighter. You doing okay? It's heavy. You do it. That's good. There's a lady that just heard me recently, and she says, I know what you're talking about from years ago. And that's right. That's a good thing. It's only telling you what you already know, and just strengthen the courage of your convictions, and you walk away with that kind of knowing that is strong. It carries you through crisis. That's what you need. Confidence. No more wimping out, right? Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready for a fight. And whatever fight you get into, how you win, you don't have to... See, look, when Jesus dies on the cross, it looks like he's losing. He isn't. They couldn't intimidate him to hate the world. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. That's the last thing he says. And he only says it because he wants you to know. And what happens, you go out with dignity. See, you don't whimper out. They have to hurt you. They want to do. If they want to do away with you, they have to do away with you, and you have to go. You have to, right up to the last moment, you have to go with dignity. Because I have to go with dignity. Because I have to tell you this, that as you start to grow, the world won't like you. See that lady that was here yesterday? She was taking notes all day long to find fault. She's playing games with my mind. Of course, I didn't lose any sleep over it. You wouldn't expect me to lose any sleep over that. I guarantee you that she was projecting her anger on me, but I wasn't angry. She was angry when she left. And there's a bee in a bonnet. Guarantee or your money. There's a bee in a bonnet. Guarantee or your money back. Cancel the last remark. Pardon? No.
Any question? I do stammer a lot, and I resent the way I stammer.
The principle, but you want the key to unlock it, but you already know that. In your telling me what it is. Did you hear that? I stammer, and the more I stammer, the more I resent it, and the more I resent it, and the more I resent it, the more I stammer. Now what do I do to overcome it? Come on now. Why don't you? Well, that's your problem. I mean, you know what it is. You know that you're stammering. If you're learning to type, and you press the wrong key and you get mad at it, guarantee you'll keep pressing that key over and over again and getting mad at it. The only cure is not to get mad at it, and still press the key a few more times, and then after a while, you won't press that wrong key anymore. You can't get mad at your mistakes. Well, is it a mistake? How long you been here now? You've been coming to a few seminars, haven't you? Well, stammering is a problem. Yeah, and where did the stammering come from? And there's another gentleman here, I don't know if you still hear it from. And there's another gentleman here, I don't know if he's still here or not, who stammers. Oh, there you are. Yeah, all right. So now why do you stammer? Well, yeah, why? Does anybody know why people stammer?
Why do I stammer? Why?
Okay, why do you stammer? You must know. You must know. You must know. When you resent someone, when you resent your parents, when they take the words out of your mouth, when they overwhelm you with their sophistication, with their authority, many effects speak fluently in the highest and most, in the purest sense. One must be centered so that one can organize one's thinking from the enlightenment which comes from above. See, I'm speaking to you, and as I speak to you, I stammer occasionally. I'm speaking to you, and as I speak to you, I stammer occasionally. I do not speak fluently, but that doesn't bother me. You can find people who speak much more fluently than me. But if sometimes in the middle of my speech, I will see something I'm about to say that's not quite right. I'll stop, or I'm not afraid of that, and therefore a new word pops in, and then that word, once I get to use it a little bit, flows more easily to my expression. However, if you are angry with other people, especially if you are an individual, you see, a spiritual person that relies heavily, that would otherwise rely heavily upon the intuitive flow. When you get angry and upset, it separates you from the intuitive flow, and you're not able to connect with what you want to say, but you end up kind of having words come to you that are not you want to say, but you end up kind of having words come to you that are not coming to you from your natural order of things, but come to you from, I don't know, from being angry, from mimicking it from the environment. See, I stammered just a little bit there. It doesn't matter. I will find a little better way of saying it as I'm about to say something each time. See, and establishing that way in my personal thinking, in my personal expression. But the point is, when you get angry and upset, it could sever that connection between your own inner, creative, individualized thinking process, and leave you sort of looking for a word, looking for a way. See, I do it sometimes myself. I sometimes don't have a word to exactly. See, it's happening as I'm talking to you. See, it's not a problem. I don't resent it. In other words, I don't have a perfect flow of speech. I don't remember. See, there it is again. See, there it is again. I don't resent the perfect way of speech. That I don't have a perfect way of speech. I pray for it. I pray to be eloquent. But if I'm not eloquent, I'm not going to resent it. So, but if I resent my lack of eloquence, I'm going to be less eloquent. You see that? Because it's going to synthesize. It's just made up a word. Yes.
What I say to Mary is that I think she tends to be too rigid and is too hard on herself. She doesn't takes things a bit too seriously. I say you need to be more laid back.
Willful. She's very
to be more laid back.
Willful. She's very willful with her own mistakes. She's very willful with your own mistakes, as if you had the power to change your mistakes by being willful with it. You're beating your donkey. You're actually beating your donkey in order to make it perform better for you. That's yourself. Well, you have to. You see, but the point is, you're not going to be able to do that until you have something called faith, and this faith will tell you that of yourself you can do nothing. That you have to live with your. And then live with it and stop struggling with it, because the struggle with your infirmity, let's call that your infirmity, is a preoccupation which distracts you from the real possibility of the real cure. In my record I say, in my cassette I say, don't give up your preoccupation with cassette I say, don't give up your preoccupation with your eating problems or your illnesses because it distracts you. I don't remember the exact words, but it distracts you from really discovering what the cure is. You're focused on the problem. You're focused to perfect that imperfection, and it's in an imperfect way. See that? And you're just going to have to sit back and realize it. So if you stumble a little bit, big deal. See? So you're not perfect and people see you're not perfect. Big deal. There's a little embarrassment. So what? Learn to embarrassment with a certain indignity without hating the fact that everybody sees you exposed in your imperfect speech. Is it pride? Is it pride? See? So what I say to you is, you have to see to do it. The whole thing is this: you seeing that you need to do that. You see, oh my God, what a fool I've been. There's your pride. There's your pride beginning to sort of break down. See, the pride is such an ugly thing. It tricks and it kids itself that it can change what it sees. The danger of me showing you a lot of things about yourself is that you see it and you roll up your sleeves and you're challenged by the problem, which a lot of you are without. Maybe you know what the problem is, but you're challenged by the problem to struggle with it, rolling up your sleeves, as if you could, by your sheer force of anger and will, remove it, change it. But that's what makes you angry with it, and that anger is what makes the problem. For instance, if you want to stop smoking, and see, anger causes you to smoke. Resentment is the tension that causes the conflict, which causes the need for relief. Resentment is the tension that causes the conflict, which causes the need for relief, and smoke or drink or drugs, whatever it might be. So there you see, you're smoking, you're going to get cancer. Now the cancer threatens you, and you resent your smoking, and you make up your mind you're going to quit smoking. Yeah, but you can't. You don't have a will of your own. I try to explain that to you. You think God. You think because you're in your ego fallen state that you have the powers of God. I used to think when I was a kid that I was going to die because when it came time to die, I'll make myself breathe. See, I saw that when I was a kid. But I automatically see how ridiculous that is when I was 7 years old. Well, you're translating that to your smoking now. You know, you're angry with your smoking. But you've forgotten how you got to smoke. Your impatience and anger has caused the conflict. The conflict caused the pain. You decided to smoke to get rid of the pain. That was your remedy. That was your remedy. Well, now the remedy is causing you cancer, and remedy. That was your remedy. Well, now the remedy is causing you cancer, and cancer now threatens you, and you get upset with the fact that you got cancer because, well, why are you upset with why are you so afraid? Because the cancer is not so bad as the assault to your ego. I'm God and I'm dying. That's what it really him telling you. You can't be angry at the doctor for telling you got cancer as if he gave it to you by telling it to you. See? And so you get angry with the smoke and you try to quit. But you don't understand the anger that you apply to stop smoking is the same anger which makes you need to smoke. So the more you try to smoke, which makes you need to smoke. So the more you try to stop smoking, the more you smoke. The more you try to stop eating, the more you'll eat. The more you try to stop stammering, the more you'll stammer. So you're stuck in that until you know the truth of your silly little pride. In of itself, it can do nothing. But you have no faith. You just think you're nothing greater than you, so therefore it's up to you to do it. You don't have any faith. Sure it is. Every problem starts from love and hate. All nervousness with two legs in the ground. And it sucks up the pride substance. When you see a person who's cheating you, lying you, giving you a little morsel of cruelty, that activates the king is judge. Activates the king is judge state of mind. And then, of course, when the king is judge, puffed up stage is past, you feel a judgment on yourself. So now and you feel guilty, but now no ego dares to feel guilty. How can God be guilty? Because you're guilty of being a God that shouldn't be. However, you don't know all that. You have no consciousness of it. You don't wish a consciousness of it. You only know the king has a pain, and he has to call up a grand vizier to relieve the pain, and he looks for dancing girls. See? And so now the king gets love. So you've got love and hate, two horns on the same goat. Now, if you want the whole philosophy of what I'm telling you, once you've found grace, once you've found the salvation of having to struggle with all your problems, the way you can keep problems from ever happening again is to remember a simple rule that keeps your ego from growing, puffing up into the pass. Oh, Mr. Masters, you're so wonderful. Thank you. But I step aside. I don't grab the glory. I don't come down for it, because I'm coming down from God to be God. He can't live through me now. Now the other one is constantly giving me a reason to hate her, telling me that I hated my mother and all the rest of it, and saying I'm really repressing my anger and all the rest of it, and all nonsense. But the point is, that's a tidbit to judge her. There's your whirlpool. There's the to judge her. There's your whirlpool. There's the cause of all human problems right there. That went out yesterday in a blaze of glory. You see, and so two things. People say, praise you like a holy person. Don't let it pass. Don't let it be an emotional experience. And if people damn you and put you down, don't come down to grab that experience. Don't puff up with the judgment. Don't puff up your king side with glory, and don't puff up your king side with judgment, because after all, real God is king and judge. You playing king and judge, then you become like God too, but in conflict with him. There's only one God in the universe, and you ain't him. And that's all that's wrong with you. And then what happens is, when you start to fall like that, you have to keep feeding that ego with fall like that. You have to keep feeding that ego with judgment and love, praise, and keep feeding it, and your ego will grow, and it will grow out all strange. You know, some trees, if you look at the trees, they grow out little branches here, and you say, why did it grow a little shoot out of here? Grow out little branches here, and you say, why did it grow a little shoot out of here? And you look a little up the trunk, and there's another one shooting it. Why didn't it choose to shoot some other place? Why is some of the trunk bare, and some of the trunk putting out more branches than it, you know? Well, we don't know. I don't know what it is, but you will also put out little shoot, little craziness and little fears and phobias, and you'll start to sprout like the picture of Dorian Gray. You see? You're just representing the ugliness that's within your soul. So your disease, most of your diseases come from a ghost. Did you know that people have multiple personalities where there's true possession? Each personality has its own illness. So one personality will be healthy. Another personality has diabetes. Diabetes. It's just whatever ghost moves in, it comes in with the illness connected to it psychophysically. Interesting, eh? The psychologists, they don't understand all this stuff. There's something inside you, and they did a mind-body program in America about this woman, and they're talking about instant remission of cancer. And what she said, without going to any psychiatrist, she just said, I went into myself and I saw this ugly thing. And there was other things she said, and she dealt with this ugly thing within her, and then her cancer went away. But they was exploring different people who had instant remissions of cancer. But I already knew that. You see? There's a certain personality cancer. It's not what you eat, it's what eats you. It's feeding on you in a strange way. And it's a body representation of it.
looked after her mother for only 2 weeks to give her sister a break.
Yeah.
Because her sister was on a port.
But you know, your mother was in danger. Your wife was in danger of contacting the cancer through
Thank
a look.
you.
Through a look. I
Thank
want to take
you.
it right out of your
Yes.
mouth before you said it. So
I've been there.
Okay.
My wife came back and she distanced herself. My wife came back and she distanced herself from me for about 3 months.
You've got to be
And
careful around cancer people because they're
Yeah.
parasitic.
my wife went into a depression. And she was so ill she could not lift her hands,
Yeah,
her
that-
arms.
Got to be careful. Yeah.
And she was in bed and she thought she was dying. And she looked, I come home from work and she looked just like her mother lying there.
I want to tell you something here before you go any further with it. The lady told me that she was sitting in the room with her mother, and the mother was a really wicked lady, but she sat there in the room while she was dying from this cancer, and as she was dying, she came over to bed, and the mother opened her eyes like this, and then I looked at her with this fierce look, like a movie, like a horror movie. Yeah?
That's right, yeah.
And so you got to be careful of certain people because this person dying from cancer, and you come into the room and you bring your family in, the kids in. What they'll do is that she's so happy to see you, because as you come into the room, she's so happy to see you, because as you come into the room, she draws life from you. You see, then she makes you feel sorry for her, and you give up your life to her, and you begin to think that, well, you're responsible, that you made her feel better, and she recovers for a few days, and it gives you the idea that you have some spiritual power, and you come and visit her. You don't know she's getting better by making you die. It's not just cancer. Dying people, you've got to watch out. Very dangerous. Dying people are very dangerous to be around if you're not careful.
My wife resented her mother terribly, a deep resentment to her
Well, that's
mother.
make all the more reason why she...
Out of bed.
Yeah.
I had to come home from work one evening. It was dark, just before Christmas, June before last. And I even took my coat off. I saw the light on in the bedroom, still on. And when I saw my wife. And actually, I was pretty cruel to her. I had to...
You're strong with her.
Yeah. And I said, get up.
You're strong with her.
Yeah. And I said, get up.
Yeah.
Get up out of that bed. I said, because you've got the spirit of your mother is in you. And I could see it. Her cheeks were in.
I just want
She
to
had
say...
all the symptoms.
Yeah, I want to say that I thank you for the point, but you do understand that you can end diseases by adopting the personality, but through the osmosis of emotional atmosphere. So, but as long as you are whole, you're insulated. You don't have to worry. Don't have to worry. And let's learn to become whole and recognize your sensitivities, because you will be around as you leave this place. You're going to start being conscious of, used to be a beggar was dirty and filthy. You feel like you're standing next to him, it rubs off. And some of it does. It's not the dirt that rubs off. The dirt is the representation. It's not the dirt that rubs off. The dirt is the representation of what the foulness of the inner person. See, but it translates itself into on the different levels. But you can feel like cringing when you're around certain people, and that simply must indicate to people, and that simply must indicate to you that you are emotionally sensitive and vulnerable. A very famous person he had an aeroplane factory, a big, I can't think of his name. That's right, Howard Hughes. He was very afraid of germs. He eventually insulated himself so no germs could ever get to him. He became a recluse because he became very germ-centered. Because there are different sensitivities, and things you can't see. Some people feel it as the evil, and he translates it into the germs that might get him. See, you become very, very sensitive to the world around you, and you try your own way to erect defensives, but you take your whole energy and your whole life to do it. With him, it took him a lot of money. He had a lot of money. He could erect those your whole life to do it. With him, it took him a lot of money. He had a lot of money. He could erect those defenses. It never worked. But what you need to be is invulnerable. You need to develop an invulnerability so that nothing can have you.
Spiritual healer. He
think he said tingling coming through him and the heat coming onto these people.
I believe that. I believe that.
I spent hours trying to argue with them and find things in the Bible against it.
No, Jesus healed.
Yes, right.
You know.
He heals in the name of God.
There's nothing wrong with that. If he has the power. Well, he could be in danger. He could be in danger if he's not. I don't think he could be a healer, a true healer, and be in danger, because he would have some protection. Because you've got to be careful. It doesn't take the diseases. There are some people who heal by taking the diseases on themselves.
Well, I've read your book, and as you say,
People who heal by taking the diseases on themselves.
well, I've read your book, and as you say, they get the force from the congregation, and heal people on the stage, but the people in the congregation lose their power.
That's right. Who told you that?
Oh, you did.
Oh, good. All right. Well,
very humble watching the television, yeah? And so I literally got her up out of the bed, and she thought she had cancer.
Yeah.
And I had to go back to Roy Masters' tapes. This was back last year and a half ago, and some of the things you just came to me, sprang up.
yeah,
like
they'll
springs.
be revived.
That's
be
it.
revived, yeah.
And I said, the spirit of the woman, your mother, has gotten into you and taken over, and that is what happened.
Yeah, were you able to save her?
Yes, oh yes, definitely.
Is she okay today?
She's fine. She's behind me doing this. She's a bit mysterious about me coming here, but she has my blessing. Doing this. She's a bit mysterious about me coming here, but she has my blessing. And she looked at me a bit strange last night when I came in. But no, she has my blessing for me coming here, because I told her last week, 2 weeks ago, that I'm coming here, I'm on a mission for myself and for everyone.
See, husbands are to save them from the spirit of their mothers. But you have to, if I may use the word save yourself, now you know what I mean. I don't mean you have to save yourself, but I'll have to use it just as an figure of expression. You have to save yourself first. You have to save yourself first. You have to save yourself from your wife, then the children from your wife, and then the wife from herself.
I've done that also.
You see, you understand the order of that. And why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why aren't you getting all the sex and all the love you? Aren't you getting all the sex and all the love you can get? Because that's the way towards death. That's the fallen man's way of reinforcing his ego while reproducing new bodies to replace his dying self. He's dying to the woman. And the woman is left alone on this miserable earth to try to find another body she can. And that's not the way it ought to be. The woman now, the man has to find that his original dignity again. He needs to be saved. But when that happens, then when he loves God more than his needs for his craven needs for his wife, and all the rest of the world either. When he loves that, he's fulfilled. He don't need any love from anyone. He is love for everyone. Now that's the difference. Now the wife will begin to see that he doesn't need her love. He is love. That's what women are looking for. Women can't find the love they need from men because men are too busy looking for the love they need from her. See, it's like an impossible situation. So that's what men have to do. You have to of your wife, who then becomes your daughter, and your other children are your other kids. That's a real family, where the man is the head of the woman. God is the head of the man. But then, in that sense, the woman becomes re-grafted back into his rib. See, he becomes the bone, re-grafted back into his rib. See, he becomes the bone of his bones. See, manner of speaking, he then becomes, she's like a daughter, a respectful daughter for a fatherly husband. You see that? A family won't work otherwise like that. So I know you're going to get married, and you're going to get all the sex wild for a little while, so do it. And do it until your brains burst, and then you look for it's all right, it's okay, that's part of the way, and I don't want everybody to figure, oh, I'm going to better sleep in the other room when I get married. No, you get married. That's what marriage is for. See? To understand each other, to learn through suffering with each other what the proper adjustments are. See? It takes quite a number of years, so you'll have some sex meanwhile, so don't worry. I'm not taking it all away from you. We need a runner here. Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah. Oh, bless him. Yeah, I found Mr. Masters, I was like anyone else, you know, you love a lot of sex and all that part of marriage. But as I started to meditate, I thank God, you know, I can do without it. I just enjoy, I can just lie and cuddle my husband. They're not quite
That's
used
the problem,
to
see.
it. No, I mean,
He wants to screw his daughter. See, that's what that's what it feels like after a while. It feels like you're being raped, violated. See? And, what I really want to do is that we're getting away our discovering. And you see, we started off pretty good, you know, with a few people here. And I was hoping some more people would sort of like start to, I don't know, rumble like a volcano and come out. It'd be such a healing experience for other people too, if you could just, such a healing experience for other people too, if you could just share your private experiences. Yeah. Yeah, whoever. But there's only a few people. There's only a few people in the audience that talk. We'll miss a lot. You need to. If you know something, you need to contribute to it, because you're not only a student. You're a teacher. The students have to become teacher. That's the only way you understand things, and you have to start expressing things differently the way Roy Masters does. But you know, like you started to express something, you are actually effervescing. And the words were tumbling out, shaping around the true observation of what you're looking at. That's very helpful. Yeah, you can. Oh no! All right. Oh no! All right.
Like, since I've been meditating many years ago, and afterwards you get lots of realizations, as you say. Yeah.
You do.
And so there's a strong one that I had that was built. They don't come in words, do they? Just kind of represent spiritual things.
Yes. Yeah.
And it came to me that the sun as a representative of the light of God.
Right.
The earth is man, and the moon is the woman.
Right.
Everything's in its balance. The woman is smaller than the man, and the moon circles the earth every 28 days as a woman's menstrual cycle, and you don't see the dark side of the woman, but she sees every side of man. And
okay, keep going. Okay, keep going.
I get it all the time.
Why do you think people who have lots of guilt, you see them, famous movie stars wearing dark glasses? And there was one man I knew, he tore out his eyes because he hated the light.
Yeah.
The light represented the light. The sun represents it, you see.
It goes on that the moon is getting bigger. She's drawing she's drawing substance from the earth. She's getting bigger. And sooner or later, she's going to be eclipsed. She's going to come between the light of the sun and the earth. And she is going to be... And the earth. And she is going to be...
The moon is getting bigger?
The moon, women that are becoming
but
larger.
The moon isn't really getting bigger.
Not physical moon. No, but the woman, if she,
if
she gets bigger, if she's going to eclipse, come between, like she is. She is becoming.
All right, I can see.
People are rejecting. She is becoming.
All right, I can see.
People are rejecting the sun, and the woman is becoming. They're worshipping the moon rather than the sun.
Yeah, that's right. All right, I can live with that symbology. It kind of works. It doesn't hurt to look at it that way.
It's difficult to meditate. My head shakes violently, and I concentrate on the movement of my head.
Can't help you. You're going to have to find a way to do it right. Yes, young lady over there, she's bursting. She's bursting.
Well, it's nothing to do with sex. And,
thank goodness. Praise the Lord.
And,
thank goodness. Praise the Lord.
It's just that it's something that's been concerning me due to yesterday. You saw me talking to Gary outside just before
No, I didn't.
the seminar.
I didn't notice it.
Right. Well, yesterday when that lady was arguing with you, and she stampeded out of the room, and there was a gesture of assault towards her.
Oh yeah, that was a good
gentleman.
point. Someone else mentioned, John mentioned that I should talk about it, and I did forget.
I'd like to support that point.
Yeah, there are people in the. You need to see that. That's all. Well, jeering, and one foolish man came up and pulled her ears or something like that. That was what's his name?
Well,
Our unstable member here over here, Louis. Louis is terrible. Known him, but I hope he will. He keeps coming around, so we'll live with it.
Well, we were discussing it, and I said that this kind of thing should be watched out for, because if it attracts bad media, then it will be bad media towards the foundation. But the way I was saying it, especially, was directed at Gary, and it was I was trying to dominate, personally, him and the people around me who were listening. And
all I did was observe. In the moments like that, you can't yell, "Be quiet!"
No.
They have to do what they have to do, and then you have to chastise them afterwards.
Yes, I know. I was talking to Gary and the other room afterwards, and yeah.
You have a dominating personality around him?
Well, at him particularly, but at other people as well, I think.
It brings it out of you? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure.
It seems to. Sometimes I just seem to.
Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure.
It seems to. Sometimes I just seem to dominate. I feel that I am.
Are you?
I think I am. I think I'm going about it the wrong way, the way I speak.
The wrong energy.
That's right. And it worries me, because I could understand what the gentleman there was, a gentleman doing chemical engineering.
Yes.
And he was saying when he heard you, his whole destiny opened up before him.
Yeah.
Well, I felt that, but it's funny how it just disappears for me after a while.
Well, let me say this about the newness of such an experience. Thunder and lightning goes across the sky like that for a moment, and you do have after all, it is a new experience. But surely you should adapt to that experience, and you won't notice it after a while. It'll be just part of your life, and on to the next. But a lot of experiences you're going to go through life aren't going to be like that anymore. So it's going to be a very mundane. Aren't going to be like that anymore. So it's going to be a very mundane journey through an unpleasant world, where you are the ship going through the water, but the water isn't going through the ship anymore. So it's kind of not exciting, because the ship is going smoothly through the water. And see? So don't expect, thunder and lightning and great revelations from this point on. It's just life. Life well lived is simply a ship going through the water, and the water not going through the ship. Isn't that nice? The minute the water gets through the ship, then you've got excitement.
But I'm worried.
The ship lifts to one side, the bells ring, everybody's running around like chickens with their inside you. See? Well, that's the excitement you've been living with. You can live without that. But the point is, while the ship is going through the water, then you can observe the whales and the birds and the albatross and the birds and the albatross and the. See? There's a lot of. Then you have time to enjoy it all. See?
Mr. Masters?
Yes, sir. Ma'am.
It's the dominating personality. I'm just a lot, and I don't realize it, so I become a different personality.
What you're saying
altogether.
is you're compensating for the unhappiness. You're compensating for some unhappiness. As a matter of fact, you're like, if I remember correctly, you're like your dad.
Yes. Well, I like my dad, but I don't know if I'm like my dad.
No, you're like your...
I like my dad, but I don't know if I'm like my dad.
No, you're like your dad, but you don't like your dad. That's why you're like your dad. That's as clear as mud. But you understand.
I think I know what you mean, yes.
For instance, John's daughter, was at breakfast time, she was mentioning that she asked her why she's so rigid. Sweet, beautiful little creature. But she's rigid, and so she come to find out she has some anger towards her mom, and her mom is rigid. Well, the rigidness, resentment towards the rigidness destroys her innocence. It destroys her naturalness. And she's a good spirit. She wants to have the good behavior, but the only way she can have it now is the artificial behavior of her mother. I mean, it's the next best thing, but then she's like her mother. So if she wants to, she wants to be good, she has to be opposite to the good that a mother represents, and that is to be not opposite to the good that a mother represents, and that is to be not good. Now she can't do that, so she's stuck with rigidness. You see, and I'm going to try to get her to see that drop the anger towards mother, and your innocence will come back, the carefreeness will come back, and you'll be okay. It's so easy. Okay, hi. Yeah, your mother got you, right? She got you. No, you got to give somebody else a chance. So, okay, here we have. All right, we got one here, and you get the microphone over there.
When I take him to bed, he comes back and says he sees scary faces.
He does. Children, you know what I did when my kids saw scary things in their room? I go in the room, take a cross in there, or say, I see you. See? Or say, I see you. See? Get out of here. The kids would sort of giggle and laugh a little bit. I said, as long as these kids love their dad, they're protected. Now, out. That's telling them if they're angry. So a little boy would call on the radio, I see little things in my room. And then... So I'll say, now look, those things are always there, son. 7-year-old kid. I'm talking to this kid. This kid is like a 90-year-old person because he's so aware. And I said, do you understand that there are laws of God and that you have to love your dad and mom, even if they're not right sometimes? You have to forgive them. You know what forgiveness is? Not be mad at them because they're not perfect. They're not perfect human beings. How do you get perfect? You learn to be patient and love people and not... And, you know, you're wrong sometimes. You don't want people to hate you for being wrong. They want you to be patient with you, right, until you get right. Yes, sir, he understands. So be patient with your dad because the little devils that you see there, he understands. So be patient with your dad because the little devils that you see there, they're waiting on your doorstep. They want you to hate your dad so that you'll be unprotected with your dad's, the love that comes from dads. See? And they understand that perfectly. Yes, sir, from dads. See? And they understand that perfectly. Yes, sir, cured. Because it's the truth that cures. Because all children see demons. You're not a kid unless you see them. How many people saw those things when you were kids? Yeah, sure you did. Everybody. They're there. Because when you're young, you have the light in you shining. You're not so corrupt. See, wicked people get so wicked they don't see their own wickedness anymore. As a matter of fact, they put the light out so they don't have to see their own wickedness. They see their own wickedness as goodness. They can do whatever they want with impunity. But they are young and they're not been corrupted so much yet. And so they see by the light the horror in the world. They also see the horror in parents. They see the contradictions. They don't know how to deal with it. When they know how to deal with it, that's how they falter. That's how they become flawed. See, how to deal with it, that's how they falter. That's how they become flawed. See? Rebelling mindlessly, conforming. I don't want to be like that hypocrite. I'm going to go to hell the way I want. See? I said, that's good. I want nothing to do with it. Well, they've been successfully tempted away from good. My favorite story, because it's true. I worked in a jewelry store one time, and it was a schlock shop. You know what a schlock shop is? They get 5-time markups. All the riffraff who are afraid to go into posh stores. something about posh stores that frighten people away. You know, you like low life like bars. Life like bars. You know, there's something about the low life of a person that is attracted to other low lives, and they feel comfortable with that kind of company. So you can have a schlucky store, but you know, all full of gingerbread and excitement and flashing lights, and they'd be attracted to there. They feel comfortable there. And when they go in there, they get high pressured. There, they feel comfortable there. And when they go in there, they get high pressured. Just as a person starts finishing to pay off their jewelry bill that they never did need in the first place, comes a flock of vulture salesmen and pounce on them, and before you know it, they're out buying some other overpriced item that they're going to pay for. So I worked in that store for a week, and I didn't want to work there, but I watched. And I watched how some people were weak, and they gave in and bought something. Another person, reacting to the same tactics, was more aware, and they get angry and rushed out the store next door. That was a different store. It's owned by the same owner. Get them coming and going. See, so the institutions of church and all the drug parlors in town and all the whorehouses and all the abortion clinics and God knows, it's all owned by the same guy. You can't get away. You can rebel against one and conform to another.
For more information, please write to FHU 27 Old Gloucester.